This is Lucy, your clarity coach, and this is Tuesday Talks at 3. Welcome to episode 1 of the Emotional Intelligence Mastery series. You see, emotional intelligence, otherwise known as EQ or EI, depending on your school of thoughts, plays a vital role in your personal and in your professional life. And with this in mind, I am sharing 4 series that are going to help you navigate, or rather understand, how you can best plug into this emotional intelligence or use this emotional intelligence, or maybe just understand the emotional intelligence. It's really up to you. This knowledge is here for you to consume, and then you can decide what you want to do. And towards that, we will have 4 episodes. The first episode, which is today's episode, is around the art of self-regulation. Now, with the art of self-regulation, we're going to be talking about the different areas that you can be looking at to help you accentuate your self-regulation or your emotional intelligence. That suggests that emotions are at play here. Then number 2, we're going to be looking at through others' eyes. That means another perspective. It's like taking off your lenses and putting on other lenses. Because it's the same thing you're looking at. You're allowing yourself the opportunity to see it in a different way. And then the third episode is going to be about navigating conflicts. And when we're navigating conflicts, it's about that social skill, bringing in aspects of empathy, and being able to bring together your self-awareness, your navigation into this area. So how do you self-regulate? That is your big question. And then there's a harmonious environment. Remember, I did say that emotional intelligence, EQ, plays a vital role in your personal life and in your professional life. So what environments are these that you are in, and how do you place yourself? How do you show up? Is it about you, or is it about how best you can optimize a situation so that everything turns out from a positive to a positive outcome? I beg your pardon. Because at the end of the day, we are the ones who are the single denomination. We are the ones who appear in all these areas of our lives. So the decision is ours. What do we want to do, and how do we want to do it? That is self-regulation. So today's question is very simple, and it is, what areas need your attention? And as we go through, you will be able to walk with me into the different areas that mean something in your life. And perhaps you have been overstepping, perhaps you have not been paying attention to, but now you will be able to, at the end of this episode, it is my hope, you will be able to single out the areas in your life that need your attention. And then once you single them out, you can apply self-regulation. Because we are all equipped with God-given gifts. But even with gifts and positive things, come the shadow of ourselves, come the negative aspects of ourselves. That side that we don't like to talk about. That side that we hope during an introduction nobody brings up. In fact, we're even hoping that when people are speaking about us, when we are alive or posthumously, that they are going to speak something positive. But we are not perfect beings. We are beings that are practicing perfection. And therefore, we definitely have our darker sides, or sides that are not so pleasant. Perhaps that's the area that needs your attention today. So let me share 3 tips with you to help you on this journey of self-regulation, now that you know who you are. And the first one is your landscape. And I want us to look at your emotional landscape. For us to do this means that you have a sense of self-awareness. So just do a quick analysis of yourself. What are your strengths and what are your weaknesses? Just give yourself 2 strengths and 2 weaknesses. And let's work from there as we go through our session today of Tuesday Talks at 3. Remember, we're looking at self-regulation. So we want to see, what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses? What are your strengths and what are those areas that need improvement? So let's just jump into this emotional landscape. Now that we are operating on the assumption that you know yourself, that is why you are able to write down the 2 strengths and the 2 weaknesses. So let's look at emotions. Have you ever felt like as though your emotions are controlling you? It's as though they have taken over the steering wheel. Even though you try to drive, you find that you're going in a specific direction. You know, emotions can do this. Emotions can paralyze you. Emotions can stop you from growing. Emotions can make you take terrible decisions. Emotions at times can make you go with the peer pressure. This is when emotions are controlling you. Yet you're the one who's supposed to be controlling yourself. And I wonder, is that under your weaknesses? Have you put that down? Well, if you haven't, just drop it there in case this is real for you. This is you getting to know yourself, being self-aware, being honest and authentic with yourself to say, this specific emotion controls me. And I always use this in my training. If you've been on training with me, you will recognize this example. If you haven't, perhaps you've been in coaching with me, you will recognize this example. And the example that I use, I learned from Positive Intelligence class that I took. The example is where you have a candle and then you put your hand over the candle. This candle, of course, is going to burn your palm, the palm of your hand. And the choice is, do you remain in that emotion of pain, or do you choose to take your hand away from that emotion of pain? Now, being human beings, your natural reaction is protection. So you will lift your hand off very fast. You could have just been pausing like this. I cannot imagine a time when you're pausing like this, but walk with me here. Just let's oblige me. Let's go on with this. You could be just pausing like this and somebody brings a candle and puts it under your palm. And then you suddenly realize, because you feel the heat and then you start feeling the burning sensation, your reaction is to pull away because your brain wants to protect you from harm. Now, if that was an emotion, if the candle was an emotion, suffice to say, you're supposed to pull away your hand. So why do we allow emotions to control us? Yet we are beings who can move from one emotion to the other. This is a self-awareness, and I do hope that your analysis of your strengths and your weakness, now you're looking at it from a different lens. Well, I want you, now that I have you in this moment, to think about being a detective. Be a detective of your own emotional world. That means try to understand why certain things happen. And how do you do this? Bear with me. Think of your reactions to your emotions, or of your emotions, as clues. So something has happened. It's either you've left your hand over that candle or you've pulled your hand away. Ask yourself questions. Why am I leaving my hand there? What am I getting out of that experience? Or why did I pull my hand away? What am I getting from that experience? Things become very clear to you. Maybe it was a knee-jerk reaction. Out of pain, you just pulled your hand away. Whatever it is unique to you. Maybe it was something that somebody said. Ask yourself, why did that comment irritate me? What was it about the comment? Was it true? Was it a lie? Was it an assumption? Was it an unknown? That perhaps in that list of my strengths, I don't have that one thing that this person said about me. Yet I'm making an assumption that everybody does. So why? Why did that comment irritate me? What about it irritated me? You now have an answer. And the next time it is brought up, either by the same person, same situation, or somebody else, or another situation, you are able to respond to it from a point of perspective. You have already reflected from it. Or you ask, what about that situation makes me anxious? What about it? Because you could be perhaps ready to do a presentation, or you could be perhaps going to be introduced to a group of people, or you could be perhaps going to be a leader. You're going to speak to a group of people, and you just get this thing in your gut. So you're feeling anxious, and it's really overcoming you. You're getting to a point where you can't even think and you can't remember what you wanted to say, leave alone your name, because at times even you end up stammering when you're asked, and what is your name and what do you do? And these are things that you know because you have written the script. But this situation makes you anxious. If I am speaking to you, just drop me a message here on the chat and let us see whether we can sample some of them. Today's question is actually quite simple. We are asking what area needs your attention? And perhaps in building this up and looking at your emotional landscape around you and how you nurture it, or how you prune it, how you weed it, it is unique to you, I must say. You need to be in a position where you're aware of your sixes or so. That's what they say in the police world. You are aware of all these angles around you. It's as though you're an owl or a fly. You've got a compound eye, or your head can turn around and you're able to see 360 around you. This is the emotional landscape that you need to be aware of. So by questioning the root of your feelings, why certain things come up, why you respond in a certain way, you're peeling back the layers to reveal the core of your emotional triggers. That's what's happening here. Because you're asking those questions, if you keep on asking questions, you'll get to a point where now you find, oh, these are the triggers. So the presenting issue was you being irritated. The presenting issue could have been you being very elated and excited. The presenting issue could be you being very overwhelmed. You're not able to do this work that has been set before you. But the more you ask yourself questions, when you think about why are you reacting in a certain way or responding in a certain way, and what is it about the situation or the person that's irritating you or causing anxiety, you find as you keep on asking yourself and you're curious, you get down to the real issue. It ceases being the presenting issue. It now comes down to the real issue, and now you are able to deal with it. So it's not always easy. Don't get me wrong. I know, because I keep on revisiting my emotions, and because I am an introvert, I am a deep thinker, and there's a danger for me as an introvert to get so caught up in the deep thoughts, to keep on asking myself why, that I even forget to come up just for breath, to be able to enjoy the present. So it is not easy, and I say this to you because I have personally experienced it. But acknowledging every emotion as a piece of the puzzle, acknowledging every emotion as a piece of the puzzle of your life, leads you to a richer understanding of yourself. And once you understand yourself, then you are able to self-regulate. So that emotional landscape is key. So how can you start recognizing these triggers today? Simple answer for me, if you've been following me for the last 3-4 years, you will see it is journaling. You need to journal. And if perhaps you do not have the discipline of journaling, then maybe you could just try capturing these moments on your phone. And when you capture them on the phone, make sure that you get a moment of reflection to go back and read what you have journaled. So start recognizing your triggers. Those triggers that are getting you into these various emotions. What gets you happy? What gets you sad? Think about them. Now, can you recall a recent event that sparked a strong emotional response? Can you recall an event right here now? The one that sparked a strong emotional response? Are you ready to explore what is truly behind it? Because remember, I said there's the presenting issue. But when you keep on peeling with your questions of curiosity, you get to the point of the real issue. And that's your trigger. Well, suffice to say, it is beneficial to understand your emotional landscape. So talking about emotional landscape, we can move on to a second tip that I have found has really worked in my life. So for a moment there, just imagine hitting the pause button before reacting. Just take a moment there and imagine hitting the pause button before reacting. And I know you're going to say to me, but Lucy, I'm so annoyed right now. If I hit that pause button, then we lose the essence of the anger of the moment. Then clearly you want to be angry. So for a minute, somebody has let you down. For a minute, you're looking at the work around your desk and it's very overwhelming. For a minute there, you have a decision to make and you are just feeling so terrible. Hit the pause button. Because it is in this moment that you give yourself the choice on how to respond. Am I going to be angry with this person, or am I going to choose empathy? Am I going to be so overwhelmed, or am I going to choose organization? Rome was not built in a day. It was bit by bit, brick by brick. However, you have the choice to either build Rome in a day and get so overwhelmed, or do it brick by brick. Refrain from being swept away by immediate reactions. Note these are reactions, not responses. When you hit the pause button, you end up responding. When you hit the pause button, you end up responding. It's a better situation for you when you're making decisions. It's about cultivating a practice of mindfulness for self, for your mental wellness. Instead of being this firecracker, getting off on any little friction, choose to hit the pause button and see what it does for you. And this can transform your decision making, and it can transform your interactions. Maybe you're that person who is so easily triggered that people are now avoiding you. You keep on wondering, where are people? When I have something deep to talk about, no one is around me. Well, guess what? They are keeping away from your reactions. Try to respond. And the tip for today is hit the pause button. Because when you do this, you're self-regulating. You begin to realize, remember the exercise I gave you? Your strengths and your weaknesses. You begin to realize that this is my strength, so I want to convert it into, this is my weakness, so I want to convert it into a strength by using the pause button. Because now I'm responding as opposed to reacting. So before you react to stress, to anger, to frustration, just press it. It's not easy, guys, but try. In fact, you'll start to hear people around you saying, you really have calmed down. You really have taken it a notch lower in your life today. You're really more caring nowadays. What has happened? You are now more curious and you're caring about how I feel. Because in that pause, you find freedom. You find the freedom, of course, the freedom to choose, but being able to take that freedom, you're pulling yourself out of a current emotion and choosing the emotion that you want to experience. You have the power. Try it the next time. Maybe if you want to hit the pause button in a different way, drink some water, giving yourself time to respond. Or count until 10. Give yourself time to respond. It is in that gap where the freedom is. It is in that gap where the power lies. Hitting the pause button could mean breathing in and out slowly. It could also mean asking the person who is speaking to kindly give you a moment to reflect. And then allow yourself to just calm down with any technique that you know. This space is not about hesitation, it's about empowerment. And with empowerment comes responsibility. So if you're going to hesitate, then you've lost that moment because it's a split second. Your emotions just come through. It starts off with a thought. A thought crosses your mind and then your emotion follows. The thoughts are things we cannot control because they come in and out of our minds, but the emotion is something that we can control. We can choose how to feel in that instant. And then we can choose how to relieve the feeling that we were suppressing. Because somebody can argue with you and say, but then that is not the real feeling that you're expressing. By you choosing this other emotion, then what happens to that unspent emotion? Well, you need to choose an outlet. If your outlet is going to the gym and expending that energy, if your outlet is dancing and expending that energy, if your outlet is prayer and releasing that energy, look for whatever it is that is your release point. Because anything that is pent up is going to find a way out. And the day it comes out, you're not going to be ready for it. So being aware, being self-aware is key. Again, your strengths and your weaknesses, I hope those lists are growing as we continue to speak. The tip today is hit the pause button. So like I say, this space is not about hesitation, it's about empowerment, and with empowerment comes responsibility. It is your responsibility to make that choice. It is not about other people. You're not in control of somebody else's responses, reactions, or emotions. This is the true heart of mindfulness. And it allows you to act with intention rather than impulse. So what would happen if you could incorporate this pausing button into your daily interactions? What would happen? Consider that for a second. What would happen? And how might it change the way you respond to challenges or conflicts? I hope that gives you an aha moment. I'm going to ask that question again. What would happen if you incorporated this pause into your daily interactions, and how would it change the way you respond to challenges or conflicts? It's easier said than done, but practice, and practice again. It gets better as you go along. How come you've come across these people who are cool, calm, and collected? How do you think they got there? They were not born like that. They kept on practicing. They chose what was important for them. Perhaps a relationship was more important than the conflict, the reaction. So this power of the pause cannot be overstated. So that is the second tip that I'm sharing with you. And the third tip is being aware of your emotions as a compass. And you know, a compass is a guidance. You see, your emotions are not just random feelings. They're your inner compass. They're telling you how you're responding to this thought that has come out, which is from within, but it's also telling you how you are responding to the external things that are being presented to you. So this compass, this emotion, it is your inner compass that guides you through life's challenges and decisions. So you can choose to be permanently angry, permanently disappointed. I'm finding it hard to think of negative words. Permanently deflated. Oh, I'm on a roll now. Demotivated. Feeling like it is the end of the world. You can choose to be in that space. The choice is yours. Remember, we are looking for that space where we can choose a different factory setting. So that is one side of the scale. The other side is you can choose peace and calm. Having peaceful and calmness in your life, having peace and calmness in your life does not mean that there's the absence of things going wrong around you. It's just the emotion that you choose to have in that moment. And neither are you belittling the event or the circumstances or what somebody is saying to you. You are choosing you. You are choosing your mindfulness of your own mental health wellness. And this has got to trump it all. Because you can only pour from this cup where you're feeling that you have growth. So being able to use this as a compass, these emotions, it helps you in so many ways to grow. So they are emotional. Emotions are navigational tools. Think about that. Navigational tools that just help you through life's ups and downs. So when you feel joy, What is it that brings you this happiness? It's something you should be aware of. You should be able to know what your parameters are, what your markers are. What is it that's going to bring you joy? And you seek it. You run towards that pleasure. And when you're upset, what is your heart saying to you? You need to understand it so that you move away from that causes you to be upset. This is self-regulation. So instead of pushing these feelings aside, embrace them as guides that can lead you to profound insights to make smarter decisions. And this isn't about controlling your emotions, but understanding them as vital signs of your well-being and needs. And I can see there's a bit of interaction going on here. Let me see. I'm just going to sample a few. And I can see there's a comment here that says, it would affect all my relationships in positive ways. Exactly. If you just take that moment to choose to hit the pause button. Thank you so much. I'm not sure whether that is Will, whether that is John, whether that is Nancy, or whether that is Roseanne. But yes, it will affect all your relationships in positive ways. Isn't that a good place to be? Is that a good choice to make? Thank you so much for your contribution. And I can see Debbie there. Great to see you, Debbie. You said it would help me navigate my emotions when in a frustrated situation, which ironically I went through today. And you're laughing. And you're laughing. Well, look at that. Yes, it would help. And Debbie, you say peace and calmness. I love that. It's a choice. You make a choice of where you want to do. So this emotional compass, don't hide your feelings. Bring them in and use them as a platform to improve. So how can you start using your emotions as a compass today? How can you start doing that? Because that is something key that you can start doing immediately. What is one emotion that you have felt recently? What is that one emotion that you have felt recently? And how can it be guiding you towards a decision or an action? And I can see that my internet is really dragging. I do hope that you can hear me so that we can finish off in a positive way. But I'm very sure you will share with me here on the chat so that we can remain together. So by learning to interpret and regulate your emotions, you talk about anger, I hear that. So learning to interpret and regulate your emotions, you're not suppressing, rather you're intelligently navigating through life. You're intelligently navigating through life. I just want a confirmation that you are able to hear me clearly and you're able to hear what I'm saying. Because right now we are still talking about the compass and how your emotions are a true north for you and they help you to figure out that path that you need to be on. And Debbie, you talk about anger. Thank you so much for sharing. The question was, how can you start using your emotions as a compass today? And what is one emotion you felt recently? Debbie, you say anger. And how could it be guiding you towards a decision or action, good or bad? Here we are trying to have an awareness of what it is that we can work with. So being able to do this is self-regulation. So in conclusion, thank you so much for confirming that I'm loud and clear. Well, in conclusion, the question today was, what area needs your attention? Well, in this session, we embarked on a journey of self-discovery, exploring those depths of our emotional landscapes, because we realize our emotional landscapes are all around us. That is self-awareness when we are aware of it. But once we know what we know about ourselves, how do we regulate ourselves? Debbie has talked about anger right there. And we want to switch that into calm and peace. Well, we've agreed that through reflective questions, we can use the pause button to help us. And these are great things that you can use to help you self-regulate. Hence, the art of self-regulation is possible. You're the one who is in control. And if you give this up, if you give this control up, there's still the opportunity to get back up on that proverbial horse. Well, we've come to the end of our session today, and always I give you 3 takeaways. Today, in the pursuit of the art of self-regulation, you need to recognize and understand your emotions, and I'm very sure we're together on that. Number 2, you need to cultivate mindfulness by hitting that pause button, because we want to transform our decision making and our interactions. And thirdly, embrace your emotions as an opportunity to intelligently navigate through life. Thank you so much for joining me today for this episode, the first episode on Emotional Intelligence Mastery series, where we have looked at the art of self-regulation. The episode will be up and available on our YouTube channel, LMC Consultancy, by this evening. All you have to do is hop on there, hit the subscription button, hit the notification button so that you can get updates on our sessions. Now, our social media platforms continue to educate and inspire you, so I do hope you're following me. I was hoping I would get some feedback on my YouTube shorts. I still haven't, but I know you're out there and you will hop on there and give me feedback so that I can continue giving you valuable insights and clarity that you need in life. You can find us here on Instagram, on Facebook, on Instagram and TikTok as Lucy, your Clarity Coach, or Clarity Coach Lucy. Now, episode 2 of my podcast is already out. My podcast is called Skillful She, and it's already out. It is live. All you have to do is direct message me for your link, and I will share that with you, or you can find it in the bio of my Instagram page. Now, this Skillful She podcast is a podcast that provides a platform of insightful conversations, some expert advice, and real life stories that empower women to cultivate essential soft skills in their personal and professional journeys. Have a listen. If you already have the link in IG, or drop me a message and I'll send you the link. And I would love to engage with you. Please give me your feedback. I need it so that I can know where I need to improve. Let us help build each other. Until then, be kind to yourselves. Bye-bye now.